Okay, as you can see, I'm back in the apartment today because the workmen have taken off for lunch, so I'll try and get this done before they start drilling again. The Columbia Journalism Review, which is a very good publication, and I'm a graduate of Columbia Journalism School, so I got some connection there, very tenuous it is, published a piece today called The Secret Cost of Pivoting to Video by Heidi N. Moore, whoever she is. And essentially, it says that newspapers are wasting their time putting video online because they don't make any money out of it, largely because Google and Facebook have stolen all the online advertising anyway, and they don't understand that video costs a lot of money. And she says some things in here which are right, but I got a lot of problems with a lot of the stuff she says because fundamentally I don't think she ever made video, and there's a distinct misunderstanding about how to put video into newspapers that happens all the time. So first, I'll tell you a personal story because those always go down well, and this one happens to be true, like all the things I tell you. Many years ago now, thanks to Jeff Jarvis, we got an introduction to the Newark Star-Ledger, which is an advanced newspaper in New Jersey, and it's a fantastic paper. My first job in television was in Newark, New Jersey, so I know the Star-Ledger very well. You put this down. And so the Star-Ledger wanted to get into video online. This is maybe 10 years ago. And so we went over to the office of the Star-Ledger in Newark, and they took us in, and because Jeff made the introduction, they were very nice to us, and they took us down in the basement, and they wanted to show us the studio that they had built. So down in the basement, they had put together with carpeting on the walls and a big monitor, and they had these two young women who were going to be their anchors who stood next to each other like mannequins like this, and cameras and lights, and it was insane. And of course, they spent a lot of money on it, and we just met them, and we really wanted to get a deal out of them. So they said to us, "What do you think of the studio?" And you know, I'm not honest, and I said, "This is the dumbest thing I ever saw in my life." And they said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "First of all, this is crap. This looks like public television in Nebraska, 1962. This is absolutely awful. But beyond that, upstairs in your newsroom, you got a studio. You got the newsroom. I mean, you're talking about doing video for a newspaper. You got a newspaper. Most other places in the world have to do make-believe and phony baloney, you know, backgrounds and chyrons and all kinds of crap to make people think it's a news operation. You are a news operation. So let's put the camera upstairs and close this crap down." And they did. And even better, they hired us as consultants, and we spent about a year training the staff at the Newark Star-Ledger to go out and shoot and cut their own video. And I think at last count, the Star-Ledger had won something like 23 Emmys for news. I think they beat out every local TV station in the tri-state area. Why? Because they got journalists married to video, but most importantly, because they do it inexpensively. And when I read her article, and you'll pardon me while I go get the laptop for a second, I can see that in her article, she doesn't really understand how to make cheap and good quality video. And that's the secret to success in online video. If you go out and you try and ape the Today Show or the BBC or NBC or whoever you want to do in a newspaper, you're going to go broke, and also you're going to have some very crap video because you can't compete with the amount of money they spend, which to me is pornographic and a stupid waste of time and has nothing to do with the technology, but that's another story. If you try and replicate that, you're going to be finished. Now, in her article here, she says, and you'll pardon me while I look for this for a second, I should have probably marked this off first, right? Facebook, blah, blah, blah. There it is. Video, she said, quote, "Video is the most expensive and time-consuming of the multimedia disciplines. To cut a 30-second video can take hours of detailed work." What are you, on drugs? We people teach people to shoot on iPhones and cut them in an hour on the iPhone. Hours and hours of detail work, which requires a good eye, good physical reflexes to go like that, and capture the right moments, enormous patience, and the ability to time images, sound, and text and graphics seamlessly. What do you think this software is supposed to do for you? I mean, I invited her to come and take our boot camp in October so she can actually learn how to edit video on an iPhone, and she doesn't write this kind of nonsense. But the next paragraph really says it all to me. "Many publishers pivot to video are ill-considered, and they thus have deployed minimal investment in resources, studio space, equipment, and salaries." I mean, come on, what does an iPhone cost? Everybody in your newspaper's got an iPhone already, and you know what? They're all, if they're under 30 years old, they're all making video every day anyway and putting it on Instagram and Snapchat and places like that. It's only you, because you think you're making NBC broadcast television, that you tell them, we got to carry these big I've seen so many people come into our boot camps from newspapers, and they're employees of newspapers, and the newspaper sends them to learn how to make video, and they come in schlepping these giant cases full of stuff and tripods and all kinds of crap. And I say, what is that? And they said, well, this is what the paper gives. This is what the paper wants us to go out and shoot with. And when they take the class, the very first thing they do is they put this stuff back in the closet and they shoot everything and cut everything on an iPhone, because that does everything you need and it's perfect for online video. The fact is that most newspaper or print publications, they go hire washed up old network people, nothing personal for the user of jobs, but let's be honest. And then they try and replicate what television stations do, which is absolutely positively an act of insanity. It's very possible to be very profitable in video, but you have to make video at the same cost and with the same complication or difficulty, lack of difficulty, that you do with text. If you send a print reporter out, they have a laptop and they go tick, 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 and they fire it off and they're done. We don't say, oh, by the way, we have to put in those hot lead machines and we have to print the paper on a press. And of course not. That all went away. It's all electronic. If you work in a radio station, the radio reporter goes out with a tape recorder and they go like this, how you doing? And they get the stuff. To do video is the same thing. Take your iPhone, shoot the iPhone on the video, cut it on the video, put in the music, cut in the graphics, transmit it, and you're done. If you can keep the cost of making video down and make it simple so you can turn it around as quickly as you do a text story, even faster in some cases because you're actually capturing reality and just slamming it together, a little track, a little graphic, a little narration, and you're done. So, yeah, Columbia Journalism Review, that's great, but you know what? Send your reporter to our boot camp and I'm going to show her how to do this, and then you can write an article that actually has some value to newspapers. And that's all I got to say for today. Talk to you later. Bye.